It's another beautiful day, and we're excited to come your way this morning. This is, of course, Thursday. Some persons may not go to work today.
Why?
You know what I'm talking about, but we are here. We have to be here because you deserve to know a lot of things going on. And of course, it is Global Morning, reaching you live and direct from the nation's capital, Abuja, Nigeria. It's a delight to have you at the other side. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and of course, I am not alone on Global Morning. I have Jumai Manson right here. It's good to have you. Jumai, good morning.
Good morning, Ramsey Enoch Agbo. It's great to be here with you doing this side by side on a beautiful Thursday morning.
Okay.
And when you did your intro, you said some persons are not going to. Why?
Yeah, there are people that their weekend start from Thursday.
Oh, okay.
And there are people that their weekend start from Friday.
Okay.
There are some people that don't even have weekends at all.
Yeah, I know those category of people.
So it depends on how you plan your day. Some persons feel, well, let me take Thursday, Friday, you know,
okay,
then Saturday, you know how Saturday is. Saturday is for one day. I wouldn't have
parties,
the time.
weddings,
and
celebrations.
Sunday church service, I won't be a chance. So my weekend is basically
packed.
So for everyone, it depends on how you think about your weekend today. But so good that we are here this morning. So many things happening from Nigeria. We'll begin from Nigeria first before we move outside the country, because it is global television and we bring you global updates as well. Now, I was just thinking a few days ago, and I was thinking about how people are being arrested, how people are being prosecuted, how judgment is being passed in the country. And I was like, okay, if we continue like this, probably there will be reduction, all right, in corruption cases. But come to think about it, when we talk about corruption in Nigeria, corruption is not just particular to people who are in political offices alone. If we must deal with corruption as a nation, then we need to treat it, all right, from should I say the grassroots or from the foundation, meaning it's even necessary for us to have all these things treated in our civic education for our children who are growing up. Let them know the danger of corruption, what it does to the individual, what it does to the nation, what it does to the economy, and of course the reputation of people who may be caught in the act, because a lot of people do it and they go scot-free. But some persons, should I say, if nemesis catch up with you, you will face the wrath of the law. And of course, I was saying it this morning, how Malami will have to forfeit a lot of his properties in Abuja, in Kaduna, and some parts of the north. And I was like, wow, this is one person, all right, acquiring all these properties. Is it a legacy for his family? Is it how, first of all, it is not bad if you have the money and you decide to acquire properties, all right, because some people do rental, some people use that to survive because they rent out some of these properties. But when the process of acquisition is not clean, that is where the problem is. So I am thinking that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission will need to do more, because I am thinking in my head that there are so many other people who also should be checked. All right, I say checked, I didn't say try or probed or something. They should be checked. It is until they are found wanting that the EFCC, the ICPC will now weigh in. So this is our nation. We need to build our nation. But for Malami, well, he's forfeiting that number, about 58 or thereabouts, of his properties in Abuja. That's the FCT. Then you also talk about the one in Kano, the one in Kaduna, and the rest of them. So let me ask, if I may ask, what do you think? What is your perception? Because this is Nigeria. We are in a country where some persons are feeling good, and others are wailing, lamenting in poverty.
In the military, they say they're feeling it.
They are feeling it, all right? Nigerians are feeling it in real sense.
Yes,
in real sense. You know, sometimes when we talk, because some persons are privileged, they may not know what people are feeling. Even if the people explain to you, provided you're not the one feeling it, you may not know how serious it is.
Yes.
But by the time you put yourself in the people's shoes, all right, you begin to think of the way out. But in Nigeria, reverse is the case. Because some people feel they want this set of people to bootlick, all right, that is, bootlickers sing their praises so that one or two things will drop for them because they don't have an option. Some people want to be hailed all the time. Ogami, any 2,000 for me, you know, it's bad. This is a country. I think yesterday also, while we're driving home, some discussions were going on. Some people were saying, well, we have a lot of natural resources in Nigeria. All right.
Yes, we do.
That if well harnessed, every single Nigerian can earn, even if it is ₦1 million monthly, as a minimum wage. And I didn't talk, I didn't say anything. I was just listening because I love listening. And I was like, wow, this is just average Nigerians putting one or two together. So now, why is it that the authorities don't think same? Because there was somebody that said something. All right, that's back at home in my community. Our brothers from the West come to the community. They open shops. They start businesses from the scratch, and before you know, they grow, get married, and give birth to kids, and they are doing well. And the people in the community are just watching. Nobody's even thinking, let me copy what these people are doing. So somebody made a statement that Igbos come to your community and raise your leg from money and carry the money. That's exactly what is happening in Nigeria. Because these natural resources, I tell you the truth, there could be some foreigners who are mining or who are making use of these natural resources as we speak.
To their own benefit.
To their own benefit. And to the benefit of some greedy individuals in this country.
Very true.
Not minding what Nigerians are going through. So for how long would we continue like this?
You know what, Ramsey? This is like we keep going through the same cycle over and over again. We understand these things. We know how it plays out. We know there's some individuals out there who are in charge of these minerals, who do what they want with it. It doesn't matter whether they are Nigerians or it's for the benefit of Nigeria. As long as it's beneficial to them, their families, individuals in their own circle, they're good to go. So no one has that empathy. There's no empathy, no sympathy whatsoever. Like I said, you will not understand how severe this issue of poverty and hunger is in Nigeria, except if you are in those shoes to, understand what the individuals are going through. But it's just unfortunate this is what it is. Like you said, they are foreigners, the Chinese. You think they're just here trying to learn our African dishes, or you think they want to learn our values, our morals, our traditions, or our way of life? I hear they understand Hausa, they speak Hausa. You think it's all about that? No, they speak all of the languages, and then they will tell you, think it's for that relationship. They love Nigeria. I may be wrong, they might love Nigeria, but at the same time, it's just for the benefit of what they can get and give back to their own country, for the benefit of their own country. So I think we as Nigerians, we need to learn from that. We need to take a cue from other international countries and what they do. Go out, try and explore for the benefit. It's not for them now. If you go to China, what you see, all this high-rise technology, all of these issues, it's not just for the benefit of one person or a circle of people. It's for the benefit of that country and the individuals that live there. I think if we can change our mindset, our leaders can actually change our mindsets and become empathetic and understand the plight of Nigerians. I agree with those people that if we harness our mineral resources, well, it very possible that minimum wage can get to 1 million naira and everyone will be happy.
Yeah, they were mentioning the
Yes.
mineral resources that we had
do.
yesterday.
We're
They
rich
said
in mineral
they just
resources.
discovered gold. Is it in Katsina or Bauchi?
We're
They
rich in
said
mineral
uranium. There was even one they caught that China is using to do guide for US. That they discovered it somewhere in Nigeria. I don't know how these people get their information. But if we have all this and we are still where we are, then I think some persons should bury their heads in shame. I don't know. There's a way I feel. I don't know if everybody feels the same way as a Nigerian. When I see other Nigerians, all right, begging, you know, some people genuinely beg. Some people, I know, yeah, you know we have genuine beggars.
Okay.
Yes, people who don't have for real.
Yeah, they don't have.
Truly, they don't have.
Yeah, they don't
but some
have.
persons have made it a business. Like I caught someone. I saw
Really?
him, yes, I saw him at beggar.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm going somewhere. I'm stranded. You know, please help me,
Oh
help
my
me, help
God.
me, help me. All right, that was at beggar roundabout, beggar junction.
And you recognized him.
Then the other day, I was at the airport road trying to cross a pedestrian bridge, and I saw him on the bridge saying the same thing to me. Meaning that's what he does for a living.
Okay, now, Ramsey, now looking at that, not to be on the defensive, what do you think is the cause of that?
Poverty.
One.
Then secondly,
I want you to say one other one.
Yes, that is not being creative, not thinking outside the box. Because this, I'm talking about a young man that can do one or two, go and do labourer. What they call labourer. Go and carry block. Raise money, talk to people that you know. If they can raise something for you so that you can start something, do something. You
know, when people say
you are an able-bodied man.
I know, for as much as he's an able-bodied man, he can do all of those things. I do not. I am not in disagreement with you.
Yes.
But how many people though can you reach out to that can actually give a helping hand at this time?
That is Nigeria.
That's what I'm telling you. It's not everyone.
Out of 10, you might be lucky to get 2. They may not be able to give you exactly what you want. I've seen people before, all right, who just saw individuals trying their best in their little way, and they on their own get a conviction and say, no, let me help this person.
Oh, of course.
If I can add 100,000 to what this woman, I know a woman right now, all right, I'm just praying that God bless me. I know a woman right now, the husband ran away for a very long time, and she's the one taking care of the kids. She's worse than a widow. Her condition is worse than that of a widow. She's not schooled, and she's the one taking care of the kids. Someone have said, okay, I want to give one of your child scholarship. So that one is in primary school now on scholarship. You know, a pastor did that, just like an imam would also do.
Of course.
Then this woman now, if she gets 1,000, she will go to these abokis that go to an abattoir, gets buy small pomo, and that skin now, cow skin, and go and sell it to people who retail and give it to them. If it is 2, if it is 3, they give her. If it is 100 naira that is on it, she just, you know. So we have people like that, somebody like that. I know how you're feeling right now because you're a woman. And you know what it means for a man. I don't want to talk about this because
a woman carrying that kind of burden.
This is a topic for another day. I don't know why a man will go and get married to a woman, and you feel the burden is too much, or for whatever reason, and you run away. I'm not talking about 1 year. I'm not talking about 2 years. And this woman has been facing so much. So people like that, if you see her and you see what she's doing, you may be tempted to say, let me give her, even if it is 10,000 naira.
Yeah.
Add to what you're doing. If it is 20,000, if it is 50,000, that woman is going to value that money more than somebody that you are giving 500,000, 1 million, that already have something. You know what I'm talking about.
And that was what the First Lady was trying to say to people.
It's very important.
As little as that, you can start up something for individuals who are struggling. That was the message she was trying to pass.
So that's the reason I say we have genuine beggars and we have people
can start up
who are just
living.
trying to play on Nigerians' intelligence.
Listen.
I see you at Bega, tomorrow I see you at the airport road, next tomorrow I see you somewhere in Kuje, and saying the same thing to different people. I'm stranded, some women started that, but it stopped. There were these ones that will carry sachet water as if they are selling it and pour it on the road. As if it fell and vehicles are passing, they are begging. Please help me. It's all strategy.
But I don't know. I didn't fall for that. I was driving with my sister, but I did. I won't call it that I fell for it.
Because out of
pity, because I was with my sisters, were in the car, and then.
Okay, you saw what I'm saying.
It has happened.
Thank God.
My sister was driving, and then the guy, it fell off, and she was like, oh my god, look at what happened. And we stopped, and we gave what we could give. I was like, okay, don't worry. And he was so great.
And they'll be crying, mommy will beat me today.
And then some drivers were like, it's scam, they've scammed. I was like, sis, don't listen to that, let's just go. Whatever it is.
Okay, some people actually knew this.
They said but we didn't know, but it wasn't, because God blessed me, and before the end of the day.
No, it's true. You know what God looks at is the genuinity
of the heart. And I told my sister, like, oh my God, look at what we did, and look at what I got in return. So God looks at that.
That's that. What are we trying to say? We're trying to speak to all Nigerians that in whatever you do, endeavor to contribute your own quota to the growth of the economy of the nation. You can put a smile on somebody's face this beautiful Thursday morning. And of course, all corrupt individuals, I'm not particular about politicians, know that what happened to Mr. A can also happen to Mr. B. Malami have forfeited his properties. All right, and I don't know what else that's going to come up. All right, we'll take a quick break. After this break, we'll bring you taste and texture. Stay with us.
Hello guys, this is to specially welcome you to this episode of Taste and Texture, and I assure you it will be as engaging as it will be eye-opening. On the show, we're going to prepare a tasty delicacy, and we will be preparing it from scratch. In today's episode of the program, we'll be preparing French toast, which is always a delicious and simple breakfast option. Also, this breakfast French toast can be made very quickly by anyone. In addition to the speed and ease of making it, it is also fun to make. Ingredients: sliced bread, eggs, milk, salt, cinnamon, vanilla extract. Step 1. Break 2 eggs into a bowl and add a half cup of milk. Add a pinch of salt and a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon powder. Add a tablespoon of vanilla extract to add flavor and mix all together. Step 2. Get your sliced bread and dip it into the batter on both sides. Step 3. Lightly butter your pan and heat up. Step 4. Arrange the coated bread in the pan and fry it till golden brown. Turn to the other side to cook also. Serve your French toast with fresh berries and powdered sugar, or you can just enjoy it with syrup. There you have it, your breakfast French toast is ready. Enjoy! That's it on today's episode of the program Taste and Texture. Hope you will try this recipe in your various homes and hope you enjoyed the program. Join me same time next week for another episode of the program. It has been Saadatu Garba. Thank you for watching this installment of the program. Please join me next time for something fresh and inspiring.
Right now, hope you enjoyed that yum-delicious, mouth-watery segment of Taste and Texture. Hope you will definitely try out the delicious, mouth-watering French toast. Ramsey, well, shook his head.
I think I'll still say the same thing that I've said before.
What?
It's cool. It's cool.
It's
But
cool.
you won't know it's cool until
It's
you give
cool.
it a try. Yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
So you can go try it out, everyone.
Yes, please do. Try it out. It's delicious.
Try it out.
And your taste bud will thank you. Now, away from Taste and Texture, let us tilt over to inspirational, heart-to-heart inspirational with my amazing co-host, Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Stay tuned.
This is another time for us to share heart-to-heart messages. This is to inspire. This is to encourage. This is to propel. And this is to help someone watching right now. Can we talk about happiness a little bit? Have you thought about the fact that a lot of people said happiness is free? But how many people have it today? A lot of people are paying heavily to be happy, but they can't find it. Yet people say happiness is free. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and this is another time for us to talk heart to heart. Well, I'm speaking on a very simple but powerful topic. It's simple, but it's powerful. What do you have to do? Center of discussion today is choose happiness. That's where we're going to be putting the whole discussion on. It's what we're building our discussion on to at least let someone know that for the fact that you have joy, for the fact that you're happy, someone is struggling to be happy. Someone is paying huge amount of money to be happy, but they can't find happiness. Even though a lot of people, you see slogans, happiness is free, get it. Happiness is free, get it. Is it really free? Many people are waiting for happiness to come before they enjoy life. Some say, well, I will be happy when I become rich. Others will say, well, let me say this. I will be happy when I become rich, is what some persons are saying. But is it every rich man, rich woman, wealthy man, boy, girl that is happy today? How many of them sleep with their eyes closed? I've seen people spend money to get children. A lot of people do it so many times and it failed. A lot of people do IVF and it failed many times. They spend so much. They want to be happy. But where is the joy? I will be happy when I travel abroad. That's what some persons are saying, because probably the economy of their nation is not encouraging. Some will say when I buy a house, when I get married or achieve success, that's when I'll be happy. But then the truth is that happiness is not something you wait for. Happiness is not something you wait for. It's a choice. Choose happiness. Happiness is something you choose. You don't wait for things to make you happy. You don't need to be instigated. You don't need to be motivated to be happy. Choose happiness. It's a choice. So many things will come on your way to steal your joy. Even the devil is being described in the Holy Book as a thief who comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. The devil has no free gift. He's excited when you are not happy. He's excited when you are crying. So it's a matter of choice. Don't allow earthly things determine your happiness. You don't need to own a car to be happy. If you're trekking, trek joyfully. If you're drinking Gary today, drink it with prestige. Yes. Because somebody is eating fried rice and chicken, and after that fried rice and chicken, the next thing is slap. Kicking like a football. Being kicked like a football. So don't allow wealth determine your joy, your happiness. There will always be challenges, disappointments, delays, and difficult seasons. Yet, some people still find reasons to smile. I love this set of people. All right, despite their struggles, they smile. See, don't write struggles on your forehead. You see some persons, they are frowning 247. They are never happy. They are never excited. They are never interested. No one wants to come around them. People avoid them because the only thing that comes from their mouth is negativity, sadness, complaint 247. That's not the best way to go. Why? Because happiness is more about mindset than circumstances. Look around us today. Look around yourself wherever you are right now. Some people have money, but they don't have joy. So it's not okay for you to tell yourself that it's when I'm rich, it's when I'm wealthy that I'll be happy. It's when I travel abroad, I'll be happy. When I finish building that mansion, that's when I'll be happy. Now I'm hustling. You don't expect me to wake up in the morning and see my neighbor and be smiling and say good morning with a smile. No. These things you are pursuing should not determine your level of joy and happiness. Some have fame, but they don't have peace. Some are popular today, but they don't have peace. Meanwhile, there are ordinary people laughing freely, appreciating little victories that they've gotten, and enjoying meaningful relationships. Decide, choose to be happy. A woman, for instance, selling fruit by the roadside may still dance and laugh without her customers. All right? Even when the customers are there, she still laughs. She has not sold anything today. She doesn't know what the children will eat after the day. But she still laughs with her customers. She still smiles. Some persons, let me tell you something. The reason why your business is not moving is because of your countenance, because of the way you look. You're not friendly at all. You're living your life as if the whole world is on you. No, that's not the best route. That's not the best way to go. Smile. Make the devil angry. Don't make your enemies feel like they are succeeding over you. Smile. That's your neighbor that always wants you to be angry. By the time they see you angry, they will go inside and lock themselves in the room and be laughing because they've succeeded. Choose to smile. A father struggling financially may still return home and play joyfully with the kids. Hey, how are you? How was school today? That man may not have 10 kobo in his pocket. He may not have 1,000. What is 1,000? Even 500. That man may even be thinking of how he's going to step out of the room tomorrow morning to go back to work. But he comes home smiling, rejoicing. Then before you know, a phone call comes in. Send me your account number. But by the time you go home and you become the lion of the tribe of Judah, to your family, to your children, to your neighbors, because there are things you are pursuing and that contract didn't enter for you, you fail more failure will come on your way because of your disposure, because of your composure, because of the way you carry yourself, because you are always, you hate happiness. As a matter of fact, let me say so. Happiness is not always connected to wealth. Choose happiness. All right. Choose happiness. And choosing happiness does not mean pretending problems do not exist. Problems are there. Tackle them. Tackle them. Handle them. Joyfully. Handle them. Some may even be too challenging that you'll be forced to, frown, do a lot of things. But then choose to be happy. Don't live as if the whole world is crumbling on you. Never. Don't do that. Because by the time you do that, you make the enemies happy, you make the devil happy, and you make, some people are more excited when they see you not rejoicing. Some people are more excited when they see you crumbling. Some people are more excited when they see you crying. Problems, all right, should not be something that You want to carry on your head all the time. Refusing to allow problems to control your entire life. All right. As a matter of fact, there are people who wake up every morning already angry, bitter, and frustrated. Waking up from bed in the morning, waking up from bed in the morning, they wake up angry. Why? That's not the best way to go. They complain about everything and anything and everyone around them. Slowly, negativity becomes part of their lifestyle and is bad, is destructive. So, what do you have to do? Always put happiness first. Happiness, as a matter of fact, grows when you practice gratitude. Be grateful. If anyone gives you anything, no matter how small, be grateful. If you can still breathe, there is hope. If you can still think, there is hope. There is possibility. If you can still wake up each day. When there is life, people say there is hope, and that is true. Life is giving you another chance. So, do everything possible, all right, to be happy. Because the happier, the merrier. And if you are driving people away from you because you feel you are angry, because you feel things are not going on smoothly, that's your destiny helper. That person that is meant to bring smile to your face might even see you and walk away. The only thing you need is just one connect. One connect. One person that you meet can change your life forever. So be careful the way you treat people. That's what it means. Always choose happiness. Have a beautiful day ahead of you. And I'm ready and waiting to see you at the other side of success. Bye-bye for now.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
At Aerogym Shoe Factory, excellence starts from the ground up. Located at number 1 Pound Road behind Nigeria Correctional Service, Aba, Abia State. We produce 1,500 high-quality shoes every single day. Paramilitary shoes, safety boots, desert boots, ankle shoes, back-to-school footwear. All crafted with state-of-the-art equipment and built for strength, comfort, and durability. For reliable footwear that stands the test of time, choose Aerogym Shoes for better product, strong steps, smart style. For inquiries, call 091-264-53399 or 070-3009-3944 or 080-6573-8374 or call 081-3167-3668. Email info@aerogym.com. Website www.aerogymdesign.com. Aerogym. Walk with confidence. Walk with pride.
Welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television, and of course that was the heart-to-heart inspirational segment with my co-host Ramsey Enokagbo. Hope you're well inspired. At about this time, it's the newspaper review segment, and we are going to start with the first paper of the day. It's the Daily Trust. And below the nameplate of the Daily Trust, it says, marketers demand revival of refineries amidst Dangote's dollar sales. And next it says, herbalist, and that's on page, the first is on page 11, and next it's on page 17. And it says, herbalist asked me to kill family of 7 suspect. Okay. All right, now moving on to page 24, it says FG launches online birth death registration system. And of course, that's a step in the right direction. And the star story on the Daily Trust says, and it's on 3 and 4, it says Malami loses 48 properties to FG, that's the federal government. And below that, it says NECO candidate official principal abducted in Kogi. And that is on page 5. And we have more stories there on the Daily Trust on page 15. It says here, FG concludes evacuation of Nigerians from South Africa. And on page 6, it says, alleged 15.5 million naira fraud, ex-code of conduct, chair gets 100 million naira bail. And next says 20-year-old commits suicide over alleged rape. And that's a very sad read there. And of course, those are the major headlines on the Daily Trust. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues making rounds. Next, we have The Guardian. Over to you.
All right, let's quickly look at The Guardian newspaper this morning, beginning from the major headlines. All the headlines are major. Below the nameplate, we have this one. Headline inflation stagnates at 15.9% as rising energy prices trigger fresh concern. Details you can get on page 3. The National Assembly proposes fiscal autonomy for state pleas. The Senate gives NNPCL auditors 1 week to explain 210 trillion naira unreconciled figures. Again, Tinubu defends administration's economic reform. Court orders final forfeiture of 40 properties linked to Malami. The federal government evacuates another batch from South Africa, brings count to 1,490. A Senate rejects PFIPC probe as Atiku slams federal government over 6.44 billion naira World Cup budget. Orire abduction. Senate donates 50 million naira to families of slain teachers, security personnel. This one says Education Ministry, NBS begin fresh out of school children survey. It's not all about the survey, but the aftermath of it. Now to the big story on the Guardian newspaper. Nomination of candidates. Row over INEC's deadline. Compliance as parties seek further extension. Those are the headlines for you this morning on the Guardian newspaper. Now we'll bring you the Nations.
All right, now the Nation newspaper, and it reads above the nameplate. It says, PSC opens portal for 50,000 new policemen, and it says documentation begins, and that's on page 6. And next on the Nation newspaper, it reads on page 2, UN warns of terror threat in West Africa Sahel. And on page 3 it says INEC portal opens Saturday for governorship candidates upload. And on page 3 again it says FAAC highlights ever 2.5 trillion naira shared to Fed, states, cancel. And the star story on the Nation says, and that star story you will find on page 4, and above that it says, Senate lifts families of Orire slain teachers, security operatives with 50 million naira. And the star story says, court orders final forfeiture of 48 assets linked to Malami. And the rider says, properties located in Abuja, Kano, Kebbi, Kaduna State, estimated at 212.8 billion naira. And below that, it reads here, Abbas Bamidele bill will provide safeguards, direct funding of state police. And at the foot of the Nation, it says inflation dropped to 15.91% in June. And on page 7 on the Nation, it says Tinubu eulogizes Osoba on birthday. And that's on page 6. And go out and get yourself a copy of the Nation newspaper to avoid fake news. And next we have the Vanguard.
Let's quickly look at the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Above the nameplate, food inflation still rising despite drop in headline rates. And this one says the federal government NDDC mobilizes $500 million Niger Delta Agri Fund to galvanize food production. Xenophobia. Federal government concludes South Africa evacuation, brings home 1,490 Nigerians. Details on page 8. Southeast has been North's ally. We must forgive ourselves. That is Kwankwaso. State police, governors can't turn outfit into private army. Abbas is the one saying that, and one rider to that story, funding must be on first line charge. This is coming from Bamidele. The details you can find on page 9. 93% of inmate state offenders don't need to be in jail. Tunji Ojo is the one saying that. NCAA bans pilot who landed plane on Delta Road. Nigerian priest in U.S. commits suicide after order to return home. Alleged money laundering. Court orders final forfeiture of Malami's 48 properties. And now the star story. Gunmen raid Kogi school, abduct principal, NECO official, students. Some riders to that story, and the first rider says, one student rescued, according to police. Governor Ododo mobilizes security agents to rescue abductees. It's time to make state schools initiative work. This is coming from NAPTAN and NUT. A terrorist abducts 3 newly passed out soldiers in Zamfara. Demands a 50 million naira ransom. Plateau bloodbath. Youth claim 50 killed in 1 week. Demand justice. Details you can find on page 33 of the Vanguard newspaper as we take you to the next point of call, which is the Sun newspaper, Daily Sun.
All right, now the Daily Sun newspaper, below the nameplate. First of all, beside the nameplate, it says here, notice of cover price adjustment. Okay, so if you're wondering what that is all about, you have to go get yourself a copy of the Daily Sun to flip through and see for yourself. Now below that, it says, Reps Speaker on insecurity. We can no longer pretend. And of course, it's a continuum from page 6. You have to go see that also. And then the star story on the Daily Sun says 2027, fresh trouble for ADC amid Amechi's choice as VP candidate. And we have about 4 riders there. The first one says, court orders parties deregistration for not fulfilling constitutional provision. Accord, AA, APP, ZP also. And the next rider says, recipe for political crisis, and that's from the ADC. The next says, bid to entrench One party state, says Atiku. And the last rider reads, Adeleke will be on ballot. Win. And that's on page 6. And below that, on page 6 again, it says, Reps pass bill to extend 2025 capital budget implementation by 3 months. And next on page 29, it says, Governor Kwebolo condemns abduction of housewife, orders immediate security action. And on page 29, it says, IPOB slams Soludo over remark on Obi's call for Kanu's release. And on page 25, it says, ex-NACCIMA boss flares IMF's proposed telecoms patrol taxes on Nigerians. And basically, those are all the major headlines on the Daily Sun. Go out and get yourself a copy and be well informed with the issues making round. Next, we have the Daily Times.
All right, thank you very much, Umai. On the Daily Times newspaper this morning, narco vehicle crashes into Air Peace aircraft at Lagos Airport, disrupting light operations. How? All right. Nigeria's 4.1% growth forecast masks deep economic challenge that's coming from IMF. And the big story says 5.3 trillion naira raw. OAGF accuses CBN of non-remittance. Apex Bank keeps mum. They're not saying nothing. Ex-AGF Malami loses over 40 properties in final forfeiture of court's order. And of course, just one more headline and I will be done. And it says, Monarch orders headers out of Otukpo Kingdom after deadly attack on Nobi village. Yes, that's in Otukpo Nobi in Benue State. And those are the headlines from the Daily Times newspaper for you this morning. You can just pick a copy and look through it. You can see the picture story there. Read your own meaning to it.
All right, now let's quickly flip over to the Punch newspaper, giving us some very punchy headlines here. And above the name mass, he says on page 22, poverty threatens 79% of Nigerians despite reforms, and that's from the World Bank. On page 7, it says Tinubu to attend UN General Assembly in September. And on page 17, it says PSC unveils 50,000 police recruits. And the side of the Punch newspaper, it says State Police, UK backs reforms as NAS lists safeguards. And the star story on the Punch, it says fake agency scandal, Atiku presidency clash as Senate rejects fresh probe. And that's on page 2. And we have 3 riders there. It says fake agency controversy deepens as fresh calls for probe rise. Ex-VP challenges 1.3 billion naira agency fund, calls for independent probe. Queries World Cup 6.4 billion naira budget. And it says presidency fires back at Atiku, backs ICPC probe of scandal. And at the foot of the Punch newspaper, it says South Africa attacks, FG completes evacuation, brings 1,490 Nigerians home, and that is on page 7. And still at the foot of the Punch newspaper on page 29, it says World Cup, Argentina beats England, face Spain in final. On page 4 and 5, it says 6 killed as gas truck explodes at Kogi Army checkpoint. Unfortunate incident there. And page 17 says, on page 17 on the Punch newspaper, it says, court orders FG take over of 48 properties linked to Malami. And of course, go out and get yourself a copy of the Punch newspaper to be well abreast with issues making rounds. Next, we have the Nigerian News Direct.
All right, let's quickly look at the Nigerian News Direct, which is going to be the last paper for the day. On the Nigerian News Direct this morning, we have a lot of headlines. Let's bring it to you. Oribe abduction. Senate donates 50 million naira to families of deceased. And this one says federal government launches Niger Delta Agri Development Investment Fund. NPC raises alarm of as over 80% of deaths in Nigeria go undocumented. And now, the big story, Nigeria's inflation eases to 15.91% in June, NBS. Details you can find on page 5. Now, you are my brother in purpose. All right, this is, you can find this on page 16. Tinubu celebrates Osoba on 87th birthday, and he has said is his brother in purpose. And then finally, EFCC secure final forfeiture of 48 properties linked to former AGF. Of course, those are the headlines from the Nigerian News Direct this morning. And of course, this is the size of the newspaper review for today. We'll take a quick break, but before we go, we'd like to let you know that Global Television does not have editorial contribution to any of these headlines. It's entirely that of the newspaper houses. Let's take a quick break. After this break, we'll bring you Social Buzz. Stay with us.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on the issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues on social media. Today we're looking at a 56-year-old man caught dumping refuse in drainage in Lagos. The Lagos State Environment Task Force has arrested 56-year-old John Ehidreme for illegally dumping refuse into a drainage channel at number 18 Oluoga, Ikorodu. The State Commissioner for Environment, Tokunbo Wahab, disclosed this on social media this evening. He stated that indiscriminate waste disposal is a violation of environmental laws as it obstructs drainage channels, contributes to flooding, and poses significant public health and environmental risk. He urged residents of the state to dispose waste responsibly and use only approved waste management facilities. Well, let's take a look at that video.
Mamabu government. This is the Young Comprehensive College in Ikorodu, Select 2 area. You can see what the security is doing, pouring all their dirt into the gutter, which leads to the canal. Now they are blaming government for flooding and everything in their area. These are the people that blocked the canal. You can see his face. I want to on Dasi ni won ti care even with the teachers. The Young Comprehensive College Ikorodu, I think they still have more.
Okay, so oftentimes we always want to blame the government for everything, but we even ask ourselves questions. How are we helping the government, and how are we helping ourselves as Nigerians? Well, I really did not take comments because we had so much in that comment section, and I don't want to abuse anyone this morning. But I am with Jumai Manti. We are going to talk about this. So good morning, Jumai.
Good morning, Ogo. How are you doing today? It's great to be on the program.
All right. So we're talking about environmental hazard, and this one is one big one. In as much as we always say, people always say Lagos is smelly, Lagos is dirty. Have you heard that?
Yeah, of course.
And now the Commissioner for Environment, Tokunbo Wahab, has been doing a fantastic job in making sure that he makes Lagos clean, and you don't get to hear Lagos is smelling, Lagos is this and that. Now we've been seeing so many things. We've seen flood, in some areas in Lagos, and it has been really, really bad. This year's one it's a bit different. Some person said maybe because of the coastal highway, but then again, this thing I just saw just now is contributing to it. And what do you think? People always do this all the time, throw their trash whenever it is raining, and they don't know that there's something happening somewhere. It's going to block one drainage or the other. What do you think about it? Because if I arrested this 56-year-old man now,
that his age alone, when I saw that, I just laughed. I laughed so hard. I think in his mind, he felt that since the water is flowing in the gutter, it will just flow. So he doesn't have an idea that it's going to stay somewhere and cause more hazard wherever it's going to be.
At 56?
Well, what do you want me to say, Ogo? I just want to help him in a sort of way. But the truth is, I think we need, for as much as the environmental, you mentioned his name,
yes, Tokunbo Wahab,
he's doing a fantastic job. I think he should still create that awareness on what this does to drainage systems, to gutters. If you do this is what happens, and all of that. So please, because there are so many kids that will put the polythene bag in and it just moves, and they're all excited. But there's something that it's doing. It's going to block somewhere for the easy passage of water. So a lot has to be done for this 56-year-old man. Come on, that was when I said, I was like, isn't this too much? Some people can get away with it with like 3 or 4 polythene bags and all of that. But no, that was
a security person in a school.
Like
Putting that school
seriously,
in trouble.
no. That ignorance is you should not form ignorance at that point. It is. But at the same time, we need to do more awareness when it comes to what this does, because a lot of individuals, knowingly or unknowingly, they do it. But for me, is wrong. Even banana peels, it is going to cause something somewhere. So I think a lot needs to be done when it comes to sanitation in Lagos. He has to create that awareness on radio, on television, do jingles in Pidgin English, in Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and then there should be like a nearby sewage system where you can offload your debts or something. Just be creative, out of the box. Because seriously, the flood in Lagos this year, I have never seen such before. This is major. It is big. So I think a lot needs to be done. But this is so wrong. I think 56, come on now. Come on. If it was a 14-year-old, 15-year-old who say, okay, you're still young, but come on.
Doesn't know what he's doing.
Come on, sir.
But then again, I think Nigerians, we are just a problem. We are very stubborn in this country. Anytime I say the president is trying, because to rule over millions of persons with this strong head, and I remember, I keep saying it. I said, growing up in Abuja, I grew up in Abuja, and I remember growing up in Abuja, we used to have that in almost every junction, just a few kilometers away. You have a very small bin. But guess what? They started disappearing. What's happening? These scavengers, they pick them because they built it very strong with metal, so it's very, very strong, so that it doesn't, get broken. But yet, people go there, break it, and sell it. Why? Now, I also remember that growing up outside in my estate then in Life Camp, you had just one very big bin. But I don't know how they kept breaking that bin until they destroyed it. So I think that Nigerians, we just don't like good things sometimes.
No,
that's the only way.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about, the government awareness and everything. We have, for instance, in Abuja, we have APB, the Abuja Environmental Protection Board.
Yes,
and I'm sure every state has it. Every state, to be very honest. So, and they always move. I don't know, Juma, you must have seen some vans, maybe end of the week.
I see
on
them.
Saturdays,
I see them. And that stuff stinks a lot, especially when you're driving behind them.
Yes. You only just pay tokens. Like sometimes you just as little as 3,000 naira or 5,000 naira for the month. You pay just to dispose your bin. So what is stopping people from doing that? You just want to go headstrong. That's your thing.
But let me just correct you a bit. Nigerians, we love good things. We love life. We love to party. We love life. And that's why when you look at other countries, you hear suicidal cases. It's very rare now. It's very rare. And by God's grace, it will not be here, by God's grace. But at the same time, like I said, it's all about awareness and how you drive these funds. And it's very important that we take environmental sanitation very important. I told you, I give an instance here that my sisters and I, we came home for holiday, and in the estate of my father's house, we're downstairs, and we're like, why is everywhere so quiet? Okay. I went to go to a mini shop, and they were like, where are you guys going to? We're like, we want to go to the shop. Enter the van. We just saw and we ran. They were going to take us to their office because we forgot. We left, as in we just went out of the house, and we just went to surprise breakfast for our parents and all of that. So we were almost caught. So it's very serious back then.
It was a day of sanitation.
And we came downstairs.
The house in like 10, 11
I said we went downstairs we just opened up the gate. We just came out of the house, and then we just went a few, and I'm like, Aisha, what's going on? As in, what is going? Why is this bus stopping? Like, where are you guys going to? I want to go to the nearby shop. Oh no, come in, we'll help you. We just saw with their uniforms and the way we ran. So it was really serious back in the day. I think we should bring that. And then, if you look at it, if you compare then and now, we didn't have this high rise of flooding then, because it is your sole responsibility, whether in front of your house, whether outside your community, the marketplace. People had to do the sanity. It is you just have to. Or you will not buy anything. You won't eat anything. You will just be there to return.
On Friday, my parents will buy everything.
Let's buy now. But it was fun. You had to. You tell the mates, go and get what you want to buy, because in the morning 10 we're all here. So I think that should come back.
It should imbibe
that culture, very important. And like I said, for as much as that's a 56-year-old man, he's really advanced in age. A lot needs to be done in passing the message about the cause, what this actually does when you pour in your refuse in flowing water, in a drainage, in a canal. It is going to cause havoc, like seriously. So a lot needs to be done in that aspect.
All right, thank you so much, Juma.
You're welcome.
Time with you on the show. So it was a global morning.
It's a pleasure.
Of course, I'm sure this message must have reached the right audience.
Oh, please.
Orientation. We need more orientation.
Yes.
Some of those people really do not have an idea of what it causes. They just feel like they're doing themselves a favor.
Exactly. Let it flow.
It's going to flow to somewhere they don't know, but then again, it's not going to cause anything. But they didn't know that there is an adverse effect to it. All right. So let's do more to educate people around us. Don't wait only for the government. You can do that. You can, put the community, and make sure you educate them. All right. Thank you once again for your contribution.
You're welcome.
To this topic.
You're welcome.
And this is
Anytime.
where we call it a day on Social Buzz of Global Morning. I am August Kumobnanu. I will leave in the hands of Ramsey and Jumai as the ushers into the discussion section of the morning. So stay with us. Good morning once again, Nigerians and viewers around the world. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on the issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables, better than the best.
At Erojim Shoe
It's now time for us to get into the first conversation for today. So many things happening in the polity and putting governance together, putting accountability together. Some persons have said, well, the security situation has affected governance to an extent, and some persons said it is politically motivated, all right, allegedly. But what do you think about our leaders being accountable? Today we'll look at this conversation, and we'll have our guest who's going to be joining us, who is a political and security analyst, as we do justice to the topic of the day, which is governance and accountability, as we analyze Nigerian leaders' mode of operation. We call it modus of operandi. Let's see how our guest is going to put a perspective in face to this conversation today as he drive home the points for you to understand. It's good to have you join us, Mrs. Saleh. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Moses Saleh. Thank you for being a part of Global Television. Global Morning.
Good morning. And thanks for having me again.
You know, almost every Nigerian have a perspective, all right? They have a perception and their perspective to everything that is happening in the country. Governance and accountability. Some persons will always tell you people have been given responsibility, all right, but not held accountable, and that has affected governance in several ways. What do you think of that perception? Is it true?
Well, it depends on which side of the coin that you are looking at it. But if you ask me personally, I would say that some leaders, I won't generalize and say all of them. Some leaders in Nigeria actually they are not inclined towards giving accountability of their stewardship, and that is a very dangerous pattern if it's allowed to persist, because one of the major ingredients of democratic governance is accountability. You know, what makes democracy different from other forms of government, you know, is accountability. When you find an environment where you have a dictatorship, they are not accountable. Monarchies don't give account for whatever they do. But democracy, because you are holding the will of the people in trust, so you are bound to give account. But when you look at it, the kind of democracy that we practice here in Nigeria, you would realize that our leaders are not ready to give account for anything. They run, in fact, they run away from it. And when questions are asked, they get offended. They get offended, but it ought not to be so, because you are holding, you know, leadership position in trust. People voted for you to hold that position in trust, so you are obligated to give accounts of whatever you do or do not do while you are holding that position.
Now, accountability. Some governors may just decide not to be accountable. Is there any way? Because a lot of people, you know, this is what the federal government will always tell you. Take, for instance, the allocation, the FAC allocation going to the states now, the governors. The presidency will tell you, well, this is what has gone to the states, but we see the state governors not doing some, all right, like you said earlier, not using that money judiciously. You barely see nothing. And the federal government will say, well, your governors have the money, hold them accountable. How can Nigerians hold their leaders accountable? Is it really possible in the kind of democratic setting that we have in Nigeria?
Hello. Well, please, can you still hear me? Because towards the end of that, your conversation, I didn't hear what you're saying. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Actually, you see, when you talk about governance accountability in Nigeria, it's a very, very topical issue to be discussed. because it's one of the major problems we are having in our democratic journey. You know, it's one of the major problems. Our leaders claim to be Democrats, but actually they are not. They are autocrats because they are not willing to, you know, to give accounts for whatever they do. And going back to your question in terms of financial accountability, it's just an aspect of it. You know, there are other layers of accountability that are even much more important. When you go to established democracies, when we talk about town halls meeting, it's a time for accountability. We have such structures embedded in our democratic practice here, but they are never activated because they run away. Once someone is elected into an office, you may not see that person again until when elections are coming around. Then he will come and say, I want to give our empowerment here. I want to do this here. I want to do that here. And they do that because they want the votes. The moment they get the vote and the election season is over, you won't see them again. They won't give you, they won't account for whatever they have done in 4 years, even in a year, even in 6 months. But it ought not to be. And also, if you look at the other flip, the citizens themselves are also culpable in this same thing. Because when people are looking for a position, they do all manner of things. They buy votes. On election day, they give you money to sell your vote. And the moment you do that, you are no longer, they can never be accountable to you because they knew that they bought the vote from you. So the only contact they had with you was to get your vote in exchange for their money. And the moment that transaction takes place, they are no longer accountable with whatever they do with public funds or public resources, whatever they do by abusing rights of citizens, they will never give account because they believe they actually acquired the vote that you gave them. So if citizens can stop selling their votes and begin to make demands on what our leaders do in office, that is how to build a society. And that is how to hold your government accountable. Because if you sell your vote while they are looking, election campaigns will soon start. You see all manner of things flying around. Salt, rice, this and that. All this is to induce you. Even on election day, you see cash all over the place in different currencies. By the time they acquire the vote from you, they are no longer accountable. They become more arrogant and they become much more deeper in corruption because they begin to steal public funds with the justification that they have already paid for the votes that brought them to office. So if you are looking for accountability and you want your leaders to account for the leadership position they are holding in trust for you, then you have to refrain yourself from inducement. You have to refrain yourself from, selling your votes to them. And the moment that is done, then you can now call for accountability. And then they will now be able to respond.
I want to ask a follow-up question to that when you talk about accountability. Now, with the harsh reality of Nigeria at the moment, when it comes to increment in transportation, inflation, poverty, unemployment, we see all of these things. And for most people, it's when it boils to election, it's a time where I have to get what I can at that point. I have to grab, because if I don't get what I can get from that particular politician, I won't ever see him again. So for them, that's a way of, accumulating what they can get at that point. Do you think vote buying will ever stop when it comes to electional process?
Thank you very much. Even if the vote buying would never stop, I think the onus is with the citizens, because in an election day, on election day, for instance, if you look at the number of turnouts, that is registered voter turnout, is very low compared to our population. If 50% of registered voters will turn out on election day to cast their ballots, I can guarantee you that The politicians don't have what it takes to buy all the votes. They don't have it. They don't have the capacity to buy every vote. If 50 million people turns out in a presidential election, no matter what they have stolen, no matter how much they have prepared, they will not be able to buy everybody. But few people comes out on election day. Few people turn out on election day. Please, can you hear me? So few people turn out on election day and cast their ballot. So those few people becomes much more easier for them to go for the buy, and they begin to induce them with money. But if the masses comes out on election day to cast their ballot, and I can guarantee you those that they will induce to buy will be a few number. So for citizens to be able to hold their leaders to account, they must participate in the electioneering process, irrespective of whatever is happening. Because if you are looking for democratic means as a means of instituting the right leaders in positions across, you must participate. And if you did not participate, you made the thing much more easier for those who want to entrench themselves in office. If you sit back, because what we have observed over time is that many of us, we do not participate. And because we didn't participate, we only wait back and see when they begin to roll out their policies and all that, and they are not favorable. Then you begin to cry, then you begin to complain, then you begin to argue, then you begin to say all sorts of things. But when you have the opportunity to do what is right, you refuse to do it. On that day, you are at home watching your television, reading your papers, going through your phone. You did not go to cast your ballot. You did not wait and ensure that your ballot is counted. You did not wait and ensure that your ballot gets to where it ought to get to without alteration. You didn't participate. You only sat at home and drink your tea and watch your TV and see others doing it. At the end of the day, when they come into power and they begin to misbehave, you'll be the first to complain. So citizens also, they are guilty of this accountability spectrum, because it is a two-way thing. When citizens participate in putting people in office, then they have the right to demand for what you have done with the resources available to you, for what you have done with how you have managed their communities, managed their states, managed the country. But if you refuse to participate in this process that brings them in, then you cannot really demand for accountability. But notwithstanding, where we are today, we have a window to change the narrative. And what is that window? Is that we must all get ready to participate in the process. Whether INEC is going to do the right thing or not shouldn't be the thing that bothers you. All you need to do, go and cast your ballot, ensure your ballot is counted, ensure that you follow your ballot to where it ought to be. Because if you do a process analysis of how elections are rigged in Nigeria, in most cases, it's not at the polling unit that elections are rigged. Elections are rigged in Nigeria at the collation center. Most of the mutilations that you see is at the collation center. So, but when you follow your ballot to the ward collation center, and your ballot and your result sheet that was obtained from the polling unit is what was presented at the ward level, then you follow it to the local government. Because this is the point. The rigging point is ward and the local government centers. That is where the rigging point is. Because what they get at the state level is actually what comes from the local government. So if you have what it takes, you go to the state collation center and ensure that the result that is presented is what was taken at your polling unit and at your collation center. That's a ward level and local government before you get. But once you get to the state, between the state and the federal, it is most likely that they cannot tamper with it any longer, because it has gone through the means of the polling unit, the ward level, the local government, the state, then from state to the federal, is most likely that it cannot be tampered. But many people do not understand this process. They thought that elections are rigged at the polling unit. Before, we used to have scenarios like that, where they stuff ballot boxes at the polling unit. But the introduction of the beavers and the other electronic devices that they are using to do accreditation has reduced that significantly. So the rigging point is the ward level and the local government. So if you can ensure that your votes are secured at this level, then it's going to reflect at the national level. But if you do not participate in this level, thinking that you have an agent, a political party agent that should, watch over your vote, you are a liar. Because when the agent gets to, they can induce that agent, the agent can sell out, get his money, and walk away, and allow them to mutilate, like we have seen in previous elections. So when citizens actively participate in these processes and entrench the right person into offices, or the right people into offices, then accountability becomes much more easier. Because the person knows that I'm holding this office in trust, because I was voted by the people. But in the case that you feel that you bought your way through, you gave money to party agents to mutilate results for you. You gave money to voters to cast their ballots for you. You gave money to INEC staff to ensure that it is done. You don't have time to give account for anything. But if these processes are well done in such a way that the will of the people is what entrench people into offices, then you can now talk of accountability. But notwithstanding, there are other channels to call for accountability. It's just that what we have observed in recent times is that the civil society in Nigeria have also been seriously induced, because the kind of civil society that we have. Nigeria used to have one of the most vibrant civil society in the world, especially during the military era. But in our democracy, one thing or the other, when they begin to poach the leaders of these groups, you realize that their strength has been significantly weakened. And this is where we expect them to have the loudest voice. This is where, because this is democracy, freedom of expression, freedom of association is entrenched in our constitution. So we expect the civil society to be much more vocal, because they are the tool for accountability. They are the ones that should demand for accountability, because they are the ones that stand between the citizens and those in office. The gap between them is occupied by the civil society. But what we see today is that either the civil society have been induced or have been corrupted, and to the point that their voices have gone down. And that is why those in power, those in our offices, can do whatever they like and go away. We had it during President Obasanjo's time, when he attempted to remove subsidy. The civil society mobilized and stopped him. Jonathan, they mobilized and stopped him. So where is the civil society that did all that today? What happened? If you begin to investigate and interrogate what has transpired, it will be mind-blowing for you. So this is where we are. If civil society, you cannot demand for accountability to the point that we compel the government to do what is right, then the country is in trouble. Because if civil society are quiet, the government removes subsidy without replacing anything, no palliative of any kind. When Obasanjo increased fuel price, we had palliative. When during Jonathan, we had palliative. But now there's just complete removal and no palliative. The cost of transportation is excessively high because the cost of fuel is high. And the masses, they must move from one point to another to earn a living. This is where the problem lies. So if civil society could stop Obasanjo from removing subsidy, could stop Jonathan from removing subsidy, so what are they doing this time around? What has happened? Now, for the past 3 to 4 years now, subsidy has been removed. We expect them to agitate for palliatives to help the masses, but they have been quiet. And this is where our problem lies. We should be able to balance things. If you are speaking for the society, if you are speaking for the public, if you are speaking for citizens, you must be able to be upright and speak well. And now that we have had such a scenario in our hands, I will appeal to citizens to begin to speak for themselves. If you have a counselor that you know for the past 3 years has not done anything, you ask questions. If the counselor refuses to organize a town hall, you people should organize a town hall and invite him. Let him come and give account. The same thing applies to a local government chairman. The same thing applies to someone who is in the State House of Assembly, in the House of Reps, in the Senate, even your governor. They should the civil society should come together, organize a town hall, and invite the governor to come and explain what he has done in the last 3 years. And also extend it to the federal government. Let the president come and speak to Nigerians. How much has he saved from subsidy removal? And what has he done with the savings? Let him explain. So this is what, like the tradition we used to have before. During Obasanjo's time, at the end of every month, he comes on radio, Nigeria, and speak to citizens. People make phone calls to ask questions. That is accountability. So somehow that culture has died because we have seen our elections highly monetized. Highly monetized. So those who occupy offices, they don't have a damn for anything. They can be there for 4 years without speaking anything to you, without telling you anything. Relying on their aides to tell you, we have done this, we have done that. So this is where we are. The solution to that problem of accountability begins with our electioneering process. Once we get it right at that point, anyone that is in any office must give account for whatever they are doing. Thank you very much.
Now, you just said something very vital, talking about the civil society organization. We know of Serap, who has been suing, taking people or people in authority to court and all of that. Then you talked about the citizens putting up a town hall meeting to invite their leaders so they can ask questions, even though if the leaders don't organize the town hall meeting. Now, let's look at the Nigerian leaders' mode of operation. And that brings us to where you mentioned balance. As a matter of fact, the executive, legislature, and the judiciary is supposed to there is supposed to be a check and balance. Remember, the senators are representing senatorial districts. The House of Rep are representing their zones too. Don't you think, are those people living up to their expectation as it has to do with proper representation? If yes, how? If no, why?
All right. Thank you for that question. When you want us to focus on maybe on the National Assembly in terms of holding the government to account for certain things, something just happened recently, talking about the fake agency that they are talking about. And some few individuals, both in the House of Reps and and in the Senate, raised motions on try to set up a committee or a panel to investigate what happened. And they were shut down. Something of a national embarrassment of that nature. The Senate the House of Reps say no, that they cannot do anything about it. It's surprising. It's surprising. Because, and again, if you look at it at the other flip, it's not also surprising, because there is this common saying that when you want to know the masquerade that dances very well, you look at the first step. These leaders that are, holding these positions in the House of Reps and the House of and the Senate, how did they emerge? How did they emerge? Nigeria Senate and House of Reps used to be one of the most vibrant, even in this Fourth Republic. When Gani Naaba, blessed memory, was the Speaker of the House of Reps, when Chuba Okadigbo was the Senate President, we saw what the Assembly, we saw what they did. They were able to put the executive in their place. They were able to checkmate every policy, every pronouncement. They were able to checkmate the executive. No matter how strong, you can see. Because, and if you investigate, why would they able to do that? Because they choose those people as their leaders. They chose, Gani Naaba was chosen by the members. Okadigbo was elected by the Senate, not imposed on them. So when you have an invisible hand imposing leadership in the Senate, in the House, of course, accountability will not be given to the members. It will be given to the hand that appointed them. So anything that will hurt the hand that appointed them, they will refrain from it. And the moment they begin to refrain from that, then accountability is dead. Accountability is dead. So, like I said, what applies to citizens electing their leaders is also applicable to the state houses of assemblies, to the Senate, and to the House of Reps. If they can avoid any form of promises or inducement or intimidation or coercion in terms of selecting who should be there as their leaders, then we'll get it right. And that is why I said, all starts with the citizen. If the citizens, elect the right people, in spite of any form of inducement from politicians, they go ahead and cast their ballot for the right people, and the right people congregate in these houses, they will elect the right leadership. If they elect someone and the person is not doing what they want, they get rid of the person and bring someone in. That is what accountability does. If you are not accountable, they get rid of you. But you can see, for the past 3 years, we have a crop of leaders in these assemblies, in the Senate and in the House of Reps. They don't allow accountability, yet they are still there. So this is where the problem lies. It begins with the electioneering. If you want to, that is one of the biggest advantages of democratic rule is accountability. When you go to climes where these things work, you will appreciate democracy more. You will appreciate democracy more. But when you go to where these major principles of democratic rule are suppressed, then you begin to see the will of leaders, not the will of people, manifesting everywhere. But when you go to where accountability, is at work, you will see the will of the people manifested. So accountability is the oxygen of democracy. Accountability is the oxygen of democracy. The moment you take accountability out, you have killed democracy as a form of government.
Let me ask a question now. I'm going to take you to Oyo State a little bit, because you mentioned the issue of probe while you were talking, when you first started, while you were talking about the fake agency thing. Now,
there is, I don't know, to an extent, Nigerians are thinking that even the leaders don't trust themselves. And I'll give you instances. They don't believe in themselves as it has to do with governance, accountability, and other things. I'll give you instances now. First of all, there was a time in this country just recently that political office holders were being asked to take an oath before they can be given, they can be made candidate in some political parties because of the issue of deception or not being sincere, to avoid them from defecting, all right, when they get the mandate. Then secondly, recently a sitting governor in Oyo State by the name Seyi Makinde came up after the release of the Orure adopted school children that there should be an independent probe by the United Nations, meaning that cannot be done in Nigeria, probably because of the trust issue that you talked about in your last explanation. What do you think about this as it has to do with the system that we have in Nigeria?
Well, you see, all these things that you just raised are the symptoms of systems or lack of accountability in our public institutions. You know, when public institutions are not accountable, then you begin to see such manifestation everywhere. Like, let's take it one after the other. You know, talking about the issue of the fake agency that is ongoing. Such issue should be investigated at all levels, especially when someone has come out to indict some persons, some institutions about the existence of what they call as fake agency. For instance, the 2026 budget, the agency has allocation there. And which institution debated, scrutinized, and passed the budget? The House of Reps and the Senate. So they have been indicted. Then he mentioned the name of the Chief of Staff to the President as the person that signed his appointment letter. And as well, he pays about 400 million naira to secure the appointment. That is another issue. The third one is that the agency has an account with CBN, like every other institution of government. They have both naira, dollar, pounds, and other accounts with CBN. So, if you say the agencies is a fake agency, how did they get to open account with CBN? Are there no requirements for opening account with CBN? Those requirements, were they met by that agency? It's a question. The fourth one is that they were given an office space at the Federal Secretariat, whereby they employ staff of close to 300 people working there. These 300 people that they are working there, for the number of months that they worked, were they not paid salaries? Who allocated office space to them? So these are questions that ordinary citizens cannot answer. It's only institutions of government like the Senate or House of Reps that can open that kind of can of worms, whereby these institutions can now come with evidence of documents submitted to them and say, this was what made us to do this. Like the CBN will come and explain, why did you open an account for such institution that is illegal? Then they will now prove to you that the institution is not illegal, that they submitted social document which qualify them to open account. But in a bid to cover up the dust, they try to run away from it. That is the major flaw in our democratic government. for an institution like the Senate and the House of Reps rolling away from this type of issue is a major flaw. It's a major flaw. Because what was their excuse? That the ICPC is already investigating it, so we cannot do that. No. Whatever they do in terms of their investigation is to support whatever ICPC is doing. Because the Senate has what it takes to invite the CBN governor to come. The ICPC may not. Even though if they do that, he may send even a representative to go and answer them. But in the Senate, he will come and testify. And every other institutions, like the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, that is in charge of the Federal Secretariats, or head of service, these individuals can respond to the invitation of the Senate or House of Reps and come and explain who gave them the authority to allocate office space to this agency. But you see, they don't want to give account because it's a messy situation. We understand, but you don't run a country in that manner. And democracy, like I said, the oxygen of democracy is accountability. In anywhere democracy is at work, and accountability is not at the heartbeat, that democracy is suffocating. That democracy is suffocating. Because democracy, like a former Prime Minister of Britain said, they said that democracy is the worst form of government, but is yet to see any form that is better than it. And how did he arrive at that conclusion? Because of the accountability that is imbued in democratic practice. So if you take accountability away from democratic practice, then the institutions of democracy begin to suffer. And that is where we are at this point.
You at the spot, for instance, as a political and security analyst. Now, with all that you have said, how can we actually address, in your own opinion, this issue of good governance and, of course, accountability?
The way forward is simply with the citizens. Because if the citizens can overcome the divide and rule tactics that leaders bring to them and begin to elect people that are credible, people that have capacity and the competence and the character to do what is right in and out of office, then you now begin to see those changes begin to show. When you go to countries where things have changed, this is what happened. For instance, when you go to Singapore, when Lee Kuan Yew became the Prime Minister of Singapore, their situation
there. Wow, what the conversation we're having right here, you can see that almost every Nigerian, every political, public affairs analyst, security analyst, everyone have a perspective to what is happening in Nigeria.
Of course.
And when there is fault with governance, there would also be fault with security.
Of course.
And most of the reasons why we have all of this is because there is no accountability. Imagine someone having a security vote, and this security vote is not judicially used, and there is no one to ask questions. Now, we've known that, according to Dr. Moses Saleh, he has said, well, this is what to do. You may not have what it takes, all right, to sue and do all of that, but have a town hall meeting. Invite your councillors, invite your representatives, and ask questions. Everyone would be there. Probably the town hall meeting
can even be conducted in the local languages.
Very
so that the
important.
people can ask questions, because your representative should understand your language.
Of course.
Whoever does not understand your language may not be able to represent you,
Very
because
true.
there'll be a communication gap. All right, everyone. Unfortunately, we can't continue with this conversation because of our time. I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Moses Saleh, who is a political and security analyst. It's been a very wonderful time. And many thanks, Doc, for joining us. All right, thank you very much. You're welcome. Everyone, it's now time for us to take a quick break, because we need to talk about opposition politics in Nigeria. Dr. Saleh just talked about the civil society organization playing their part, drawing attention of people in governance to accountability, or trying to hold them accountable. What then is the role of opposition? Can they also hold people in the office, the ruling government? Can they also hold them accountable as opposition parties? We'll look at all of that and do an assessment of the role of opposition parties in Nigeria. All of that will be coming up after this break. Stay with us. Thank you, everyone. Now it's time for us to look at opposition politics in Nigeria. Some persons will tell you we don't really have an opposition in Nigeria, and others will tell you there are strong oppositions in Nigeria, as it has to do with political parties. And all of that will be manifesting in 2027. But before we get to 2027, how effective have these opposition parties been? We just talked about accountability and governance. Don't you think opposition parties can also hold people in government accountable to an extent? Well, we'll look at all of that as we have someone join us right now. In the conversation, we will have Dr. Chinedu Obi join us. Chinedu Obi is the national chairman of the National Rescue Movement, that is NRM political party, and he's also the Director General of IPAC in Nigeria here. It's good to have you join us this very beautiful day, Dr. Chinedu.
Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, let's get into the second discussion for today. What do you think? Do we really have a opposition party in Nigeria?
Okay, Nigerian democracy is shown to be a multi-party democracy, and multi-party democracies actually have opposition. Until recently, we had 19 political parties. Today, there are 22 of them. So we have opposition political parties. Of course, the current government, the current APC government, took power in 2015 from the PDP government. So we have opposition political party. The question now will be, how credible is the opposition political parties in Nigeria? That question would be a yes or no question. Yes, there's very effective opposition political party. But of course, since this period, particularly coming towards the 2027 election, there seems to be an orchestrated plan to ensure that opposition political parties do not effectively play their role. But centrally, you need a credible opposition to have a healthy democracy in any country.
Let's look at your own party now. All right. What can you hear us?
Very well, go ahead, please. I can hear you.
All right. Let's look at your own political party right now as it is. One of the things that a lot of people look at, because a lot of people look at the People's Democratic Party. If you ask some Nigerians now, they will tell you the opposition party that is supposed to at least hold this ruling party accountable is maybe they will call popular parties. But your own party, what are you doing as an opposition to bring a check into this administration as the chairman of the party?
Okay, so the party, we've tried to propose policy alternative to Nigerians through our blueprint called the National Rescue Movement Blueprint, where, of course, we put together a document that speaks to our ideology, a social justice party that is governed under a regime of rule of law, which is absent in our country today, which we believe will ensure a peaceful society, taking advantage of the multi-talented, multi-resources in Nigeria to have a peaceful and productive economy that will bring us to a shared prosperity. That's the ideology of the party, and our blueprint speaks to it and giving you strategies of how to harness our numerous human and material resources under a regime of rule of law to ensure that we have a productive society and have that productive society shared prosperity. That's actually what our party gives as an alternative. A social justice party begins to look at every individual in the system as a partaker, as a shareholder, as one who should benefit from the resources of the nation under a regime of good governance where the health sector takes care of the health needs of the people, the educational sector takes care of the educational need of the people, there are social infrastructures, there are everything a normal human being in the 21st century should require to make sure that citizens of that country are not, as it were today, living in a country where there's a lot of insecurity, where the economy is bad, where the country is considered to be the prosperity capital of the country, where you have all manners of impunity. The regime of rule of law is down, institutions are weak. These are what the National Rescue Movement feel that with the human capital that we have, with the resources that we have, under a good regime of leadership and under a well-structured rule of law, you can have this reversed and you have a better country for the people. So this is the value proposition the National Rescue Movement presents to the country.
Dr. Chinedu, I would like to ask, what do you think are the major challenges of opposition parties in Nigeria, and of course, why it affects the major effectiveness of these opposition parties?
Well, thank you. Great question. The reason this is a conversation today is like, if you notice what has happened from the beginning of this electoral season, is that there seems to be an orchestration to ensure that we do not have a credible opposition. You recall there was a chairman of the ruling government that said that a one-party system is not a bad idea. Not too long after he said that, you now start seeing persons who call themselves former legislators going to court to seek for the registration of existing political parties, not minding that these parties have met all the threshold of constitutional requirement, electoral act requirement, and seeking to usurp even the power of the Independent National Electoral Commission, which is the only body vested with the powers to register and register a political party. And you could see even the Attorney General of the Federation going to court to support that position. Whereas that's the body that should be the principle of our legal system. Now you can see that external influence to ensure that the opposition political parties are not allowed to concentrate to do its job. Now, in the third, during the first coming of the Fourth Republic, we had political parties funded, but the PDP government, in their wisdom, using their majority, amended the constitution in such a way that political parties no longer get funds, so that it can allow it, being the only party in power, to have access to resources, to do its programs, to put the opposition parties to a disadvantage. Today, political parties are not funded, and the ruling parties tend to have even weaponized poverty, so that people no longer listen to issues of ideology. People get so hungry, poor, that they can't think out of their tummy, which is why you find during election, persons are voting and budgeting to buy votes. And people even sell their vote for as little of 1,000 naira. So at the heart of the challenge is the fact that there are orchestrated plans to make sure that the opposition is weak. There's no funding for political parties. The ruling parties tend to have taken advantage of access to resources to weaponize poverty in such a way that you wait for them during the election day and you queue up to collect your money and vote.
Dr. Chinedu, let's talk about constructive criticisms now. How can opposition parties criticize how can they criticize various the administrations or various other political opposition parties and still promote national development at the same time?
Yeah, very well. The opposition political parties are supposed to be like a shadow government, providing policy alternative, doing constructive criticism to policies of ruling government. Now, it plays, but of course, you see the way it is here, there's a plan to ensure that you don't have that happen. Most of the times today, you find how government try to even use the instruments of government to ensure that even the media does not play that oversight role. Talk less of opposition. Each time you try to provide a policy alternative, the ruling party make you feel as if you are attacking it personally. But ideally, what is expected is that opposition political parties provide policy alternative, criticize what it thinks is not good proposal by the ruling government, and in Senate climes, what the ruling party does is to look clearly and pick ideas from the opposition political parties. Are we doing that in Nigeria? Yes, you find that done, but of course, we have a winner take it all, where the ruling parties tend not to look the way of the opposition to see how the value they bring in can help to grow the country. Of course, that's inability to be inclusive, inability to listen to policy alternative is at the root to why our development seems to be retarded.
All right. Let me come to you. Thank you very much, Doctor. Let me ask this question now concerning your political party. You know, a lot of people have said from the past administration, since democracy, we've heard people who are above 40 and all of that govern the country in different political offices. Does your party have any plan for the youth come 2027?
Very well. My party is sensitive to inclusion. And what we do in our party is to ensure that the underrepresented, particularly the youths and women and the PWDs, get access to our offices. In the last election, after NSAS, we felt the Nigerian youths want to participate in politics, and we gave opportunity for the youth to participate free in all our elections. In fact, in the last last election, we did not ask youth to pay a single dime for their forms. If you notice, we had about 8 presidential candidates, aspirants who ran under our party, who were predominantly youth and who we thought would have galvanized their population to vote for themselves and possibly take over government. But that didn't happen then. This time around, we had to do a 50% slide in our nomination forms. In fact, if you check our nomination forms, they're the cheapest you can find anywhere. For anyone who even wanted to run as a youth below 35, all you just need is 250,000 naira to get our nomination form for House of Assembly, which you think is a place where as many youths as possible should take advantage of. Because with the 50% slide on our nomination forms, it brings it down to as little as 250,000 for women, youth, and PWDs. So there's a conscious effort. If you go to our party website, to discover that we have some sort of bias for women and youth because they are the underrepresented. And of course, they have the critical mass of the population that you require to even participate in the elections. If you check the statistics of election over time, those who participate in election are basically women and youth. Unfortunately, they're not usually allowed to participate. The question now is that, haven't even given the youth this opportunity, how often do they use it? This political system has been so dollarized that even when you give them those free funds, the polling unit on the election day, those who have been weaponized, those who have weaponized poverty, come to the polling unit and buy up votes, and of course, making it difficult for these youth, even when you're giving them the opportunity to have access. So our solution to it is that the youth should learn now to take their fate into their own hands, go to the election polling centers and defend their votes, vote for themselves and defend it, and see whether that can change the situation.
The question, we have issues of vote buying, voters' apathy when it comes to elections. How has your political party, being an opposition, been all out there to create the awareness on giving that morale for Nigerians to come out and vote, cast their vote, which is their power and their right?
If over time you've been following me, I have been an advocate of voter education around the idea of Nigerians realizing that the power in a democracy rests with them. There's this growing feeling that votes do not count, and I've been at the center of letting Nigerians know that votes actually count. Because if votes don't count, politicians won't be buying it. What happens is that when people say their votes, they sell the opportunity to get things changed. And my party had been at the center of canvassing to Nigerians to let them know that Nigeria can work again, that Nigeria can recover itself again. All we just need is for every Nigerian to believe in himself, believe that each vote counts. During the period of going to register to pick up their PVCs, Nigerians should all come out in mass, pick up the PVC, and on election day, look for persons of pedigree, persons with character, persons with the competence, and persons with that human empathy and compassion, persons with proven records of delivering in small areas of their endeavors. Either as a businessman, they've done very well in their little space, they've been able to do very well. Give such people opportunity to lead them, vote for them on the election day, avoid any form of inducement, and stay close to defend the vote. At the end of the day, if we do that, the vote will count, and then we can now begin to elect Nigerians that understand the issues, that understand their positions, that will be able to reverse the current situation in the country. Until that is done, we will continue to still sit and criticize the situation. So the point is that every Nigerian has a role to play. In a democracy, power belongs to the people. We need to psych ourselves to believe this and deal with this vote apathy, which is a product of the previous experience of where people thought their vote did not count. And I want to use the opportunity to tell Nigerians today that vote actually counts. Yes, maybe you may have had cases in the past where you may think that your vote did not count, but the last election, as much as most Nigerians may disagree with me, showed clearly that votes in Nigeria count, because that election, before it, nobody would have thought that a Peter Obi would be going neck to neck with the powers that people thought was in charge. Nobody would have thought that Peter Obi could win a Bola Tinubu in Lagos. Nobody would have thought that PDP and APC could not secure even 20% of the votes in the FCT. Nobody would have thought that senatorial governors who are going for senatorial election could lose election. There are persons who went to National Assembly who on a good day would not have been able, but because the Independent National Electoral Commission with time gave Nigerians that confidence that election will count, and on election day, people actually went out in mass to vote, and you saw it. Yes, the final outcome, because of the glitches, may have affected the psyche of the average Nigerian to think that the vote did not count. But to a very large extent, I speak on good authority to say that our votes count and will always count, provided that on election day, all Nigerians of voting age with PVC go to the polling unit, vote for candidates of their choice, ensure that we take advantage of the Electoral Act that requires that you do a direct transmission of the result, ensure that the electoral officers carry that exercise out. If we do that, our vote will count. If we resist vote buying, ask those people who think that they can't give us the social infrastructure we require, but keep the money to buy our votes on election day. If we can disappoint them to say, go away with your money, we're not interested, we want to reverse insecurity, we want to be sure that our health sector work, we want to be sure that our social infrastructures are in place, then we'll vote candidates of our choice. And trust me, Nigerians will have their country work again.
Let me ask a question now, Chairman. You're the chairman of your party, your political party, the NRM. Then you are also the DG of IPAC, that's our Inter-Party Advisory Council. Now, there have been a lot of inter-party crises and intra-party crises. How, as the DG of IPAC, what is IPAC doing to ensure that our politicians, we're just talking about vote buying and the rest, what does IPAC, all right, have in store for the 2027 election? What's IPAC's plan, as a matter of fact?
Well, the role of IPAC is to deepen democracy. Every person that is within the political space is in the room, all political parties coming together to interrogate things that we think are not right, strengthen our democracy through engagement with the relevant authorities, do voter education and all those kind of things that we need to do. But essentially, in IPAC, there's a code of conduct which governs the activities, how political parties are supposed to behave, what we need to do. The code of conduct treating towards getting politicians to obey the rules, to obey the laws, to obey the Constitution and the Electoral Act, and play by the rules. This we do through programs. This we do through engagement. We have general assemblies where we come in, discuss the issues that, like the last general assembly we had to discuss issues of thuggery we discovered in some states, particularly in Edo, in Ondo, where we've seen cases where some politicians are playing outside the books. We've used such opportunities to call parties to order. We get involved in programs with stakeholders to deepen and strengthen and build the capacity of even the political leaders themselves to provide checks within the system to ensure that everyone plays by the books. But of course, in every 12, there's going to be a Judas. Once in a while, you find people who go out of the way. But in IPAC, there's a conscious effort to ensure that members play by the rules governed by our code of conduct and the constitution which the Interparty Advisory Council launched last year.
So far, we've heard about, in fact, I wouldn't take that away from IPAC. IPAC has been doing very well. But what are the challenges IPAC have with these political parties? Have there been challenges? Is there any one at all?
Of course, there have been challenges. When one person is crying, others are crying. In recent times, you saw the move by people I call medicinal interlopers trying to get involved in destabilizing political parties by seeking their deregistration. As we speak, an unknown former legislators forum that was registered just a few months ago to carry out this dirty job went about using the lower courts to see how they stop political parties. Well, of course, distract political parties because, of course, they do not have such powers. It's not within the only body set up by law to register or deregister political parties, INEC. And of course, in some of those issues, INEC have come out clearly to say that these parties are all compliant. None of them is defective in terms of being deregistered. But these are distractions which individual political parties are having. As they have that, it affects the entire system. But of course, what do we do? As IPAC, we've taken steps to ensure that we call this to order. Recently, you noticed that an appeal court stayed action in a matter before Justice Lifu not to go ahead with the issue of registration of political parties. But blatantly, unprofessionally, Lifu forgot there's something called hierarchy of courts and went ahead because maybe he has a game plan to take that decision. IPAC had gone out of his way to even petition Lifu to the NJC to make sure that we don't allow people use judiciary to destabilize our democracy. Because today, you see now that whereas the people should be the one to determine who their leaders are, the judiciary is beginning to assume the role of the people and beginning to even get involved in matters that they don't have jurisdiction. Supreme Court in the last 15 years has clearly said there are certain things called internal party affairs, but you find people find a way of going to the lower courts today to get involved in matters that did not have jurisdiction. So these are the challenges before us. The other one is the fact that I keep saying political parties need to be funded. If political parties are not funded, they cannot effectively challenge the ruling party, because the ruling party, whether you like it or not, has access to our resources. They might claim otherwise, but the vehicles they drive around are vehicles. The security they use are security. They have access, and they use it sometimes to make sure that they make themselves only present. And of course, because of the weaponization of poverty, most Nigerians no longer think from their head, they think from their tummy. Because they say a hungry man will first of all want to eat. So, and of course, knowing that this is what they've done as the poverty capital of the world, on election day, they dangle their 1,000 naira and expect that people will vote for them. So these are the challenges. We pray that the media will join us to see the need to push for legislation to bring back the funding of political parties so that opposition political parties will have the funds to go about marketing their programs and activities and provide alternatives to Nigerians, so that during election, Nigerians would have been exposed to other ideas and not the ones that those who have access to our resources and institutions push before them.
Dr. Chinedu, your party, NRM, what is your party as an opposition doing differently for the lower masses that you mentioned, so that their eyes can be open to see that everyone stands a chance when it comes to voting, expressing themselves in order to get proper governance from these individuals who are placed in these sectors, for accountability and, of course, transparency. What's your party doing differently that other party have
In
not
fact, the thing we have
actually
done differently is that we have consciously gone to that section that is neglected, the youth who are the future of the country, and women who participate more in election and who are even at the receiving end. Today, our presidential candidate in this election is a woman, a young woman, who we feel is the face of the future of Nigeria, who has all it takes to deliver the policy and programs and manifestos of NRM to Nigerians. We have also given opportunity to all youth. Most of our candidates are young people, so that they now know that they can have opportunity to mobilize themselves, join us in this message of Nigeria can work again. Nigeria can be ruled under a governance structure of rule of law, where we give power to men with capacity, integrity, and character, people with proven records of excellence, so that by the time they have access to our numerous material resources, they can synergize their competence to translate these things to what can change the position of the Nigerian today, which is poverty, which is insecurity, which is economic stagnation, and so on. So we are consciously doing this in practice. Like I said to you, we have developed a blueprint that speaks to all the sectors, strategies, timelines. What do we do in this sector? How do we do it? When do we do it? We have monitoring mechanisms, evaluation mechanisms, performance indicators, things that will show that within a measurable period of time, we can start something, monitor it, and see to its execution. These are things that we're bringing to the table to show a different way of things, how things are done. And particularly to say that a government can be run through a rule of law regime where what you say is what you do, where you don't do different laws for different people, where you don't concentrate development in one area, appointment in one area, where you remember that every Nigerian has a stake on the table. If you need to recruit people, you recruit them across the country. You recruit competent people, qualified people, not our tribesmen, not our religious people, so that at the end of the day, every Nigerian will be proud to be a Nigerian again.
When you were talking about IPAC and you were talking about political parties, you said something about funding for political parties. Do you think so that they can actually play the opposition as it is appropriate? Do you think the federal government, all right, or the sitting government, which is to be faced or maybe held accountable for certain things, would want that funding to come? And do you think it will even be possible to fund all the political parties in Nigeria?
We have done that before. I said to you, when we started the First Republic, political parties were funded. It was just because of the PDP government then that was in power, felt that that gave other parties an advantage and wanted to give a super advantage to himself because he has access to resources, denying other political parties access to funds. And they amended the constitution to now take away that provision. Political parties can be funded if you want them to be truly independent, to be able to provide, have the resources to canvass their ideas to the people, market the alternative, provide policy direction, and not as it were today, where you see, okay, originally, how party members get funds is through their members' contribution, by registration of members, by payment of dues. But the parties have gotten into access to power. Put this to pay, stop all these activities. What they even do is that you find out that they are the ones that give people money to go and get registered. People even are paid to go and register. So now you can imagine, if you live in a rural community where you have a party where you're going to pay 1,000, for instance, as we do in our party to register, and then you have where they're going to pay you 20,000 for you to be registered. I think you can make out the choice of the one you will do in the circumstance. Now, these are things parties that have access to funds have been able to do to make sure that people who are vulnerable.
We'll continue this conversation again because our time is up. We will continue this conversation. It's obvious that we need to host you live in the studio again so that we can have more conversation. It's been a very robust conversation so far with you. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much. I'll be glad to come live at the studio any other time so we can talk more about this. And thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Well, everyone, this is the size of the conversation today. It's been a very wonderful conversation with the IPAC DG and the national chairman of NRM. Thank you, everyone, for being part of the conversation. This is to let you know that the opinion of our guest is entirely theirs and not that of Global Television. My name is Ramsey Enoch. This is the size of the conversation for you this morning.
And I am Jumai Manson. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program. Have an amazing day ahead. Bye-bye.